Welcome back, and today we're going to work through our quiz. So yesterday I told you that you needed to build all of this without looking at my code first. So let's get started building it. I'm going to go and move this to the left side of my computer. That way I can bring up the editor on the right. Now if you're a Mac user, this isn't built into the Mac by default. You can download an app called Moom, and that will allow you to do this. Next, I'm going to get rid of the sidebar here by going to View, Sidebar, Hide. So now let's get started converting the markup that you see here. First step is we have my first website. So I will copy that, and that should be placed in a top level heading. It is the most important thing. This is my website. Next, we have just a little bit about our website, and that makes sense to place it within perhaps a paragraph tag. So we'll do that now. Next, we have a list of things I enjoy. The correct way to display this is using an unordered list. Remember, the order is not important, so we don't use an OL or an ordered list, we use a UL. Next, we have a subheading here, and this is where we will use either an H2 or an H3 tag is appropriate here. In this case, I chose an H3, but if you did H2, that's right too. Here we have two quotes. So I'm going to copy each one, and remember to use a block quote. Now, while you can get away with pasting in the quote directly within the block quote, technically you should use a paragraph or some other styling element within it. I typically use a paragraph element though. Next, I'm going to copy this and duplicate it, and we'll replace this one with and another. Good, so that markup looks pretty good to me. I'm going to open this in a new tab, and now you can see very similar, but we need to add a little bit of styling here. So to do that, I need to reference a style sheet. So I will bring back the sidebar, and we want to reference this empty CSS file that I've created. Let's do that now. If I expand this, you can see we're using the link element to link to a style sheet. We set the relationship to a style sheet, and then the href is going to be a path to where this file is stored. In this case, we're in the root, so we're going to look in the CSS folder and find style.css. Next step is to open up style.css and get started. And once again, I will hide the sidebar. If we go back to our original, it looks like the color here is grayish. You could use any color here. It's not important that you got the exact value that I used. I'm going to reference the body element, because that is our parentmost element here, and that's very common for using things like background colors for your website. Background, E3, E3, E3. Now you could also use background-color. Both of those will work in this case. I'm going to come back and refresh the page, and now we have our grayish background. The next step is, it looks like our headings are a different font than what is used by default. By default in browsers, they use Times. In this case, it looks like it's using a sans serif font, probably Helvetica or Arial. Now, if we look though, it also appears that all of the text is receiving this font, not just the headings if we come back. So we can do it within our body element, because that's a nice way to style the body and everything within it. Remember, when you're working with CSS, all of your styling will cascade. So in this case, if I apply a font weight of bold, that's going to filter down to all of the properties unless one of those properties overrides the body element. In this case, you see it's being applied everywhere. So now I'm going to set a font family to sans serif, and that will default to Helvetica or Arial in the huge majority of cases. Good, we're getting there.